Hi everybody, it's Robbie from Southern California, and today I'm kind of going to do a vlog on what is coming this year. I am so excited because I've come up with so many different things I'm going to do, because when it comes summer, I want to make sure my garden is going full force. And I'm going to share that with you. You're going to see so many changes, and not just changes, but things to make things fun. I'm starting right now in my kitchen. This is where I do it with the hummingbirds. Only gonna be here for a few seconds to show you that there's gonna be different things I'm gonna be doing all year. Now let's go to another part of the kitchen for a moment, and then we'll continue our journey, because this is gonna be a journey all around the property, and I'm taking with you today, and I'll try to keep it short. So the second stop on our journey, because we just did my little cubby hole, the old breakfast room where I've got the hummingbirds going, is the kitchen. Now in the kitchen, I'm hoping to figure out how I can share with you all the things I grow out of the garden. And I'm also hoping to get a lot of live shows like that. I shouldn't call them shows. I want to be with you and cook, but I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do that where I could run it live, but I won't be able to answer your questions. You'll all have to talk among yourselves, and I'll come in and decide, because I never know. I may come in and say, oh, I'm going to make tacos for dinner. I walk in and I find oranges on the counter Gary brought in and something else, and I just go on a whole different scheme of things. So I never know what I'm going to make. And what I'm going to do in the kitchen for fun for a while is, you may see a different hat, a hat with all kinds of food and things on it. I want to make things fun, and I want to make things different this year, and I want to make it where you can take something from me, not necessarily the exact thing I'm doing, but get sparks and ideas as we go through this year, because we all need a lot of new things. We need fun and we need easy, so we make it part of our lives. So now let's go on to our journey to another place where I do a lot of videos. So now we're on the deck. This is a big part. This is not going to change. I'm still going to be gardening on the deck. I love my deck because I can come out in the middle of the night, grab something if I want to make tea. I've got mint growing tomatoes, eggplant, all kinds of greens. I've even got moringa growing. Everything's on the deck. So we're going to do a lot on the deck, and I'm going to talk about how I get my soil on the deck, how we save money, how we make our own soil, and how we compost in place. But the deck will be a big part, as always, throughout the entire year, because I know a lot of you really like the deck I've got, because you're growing in such small places, a balcony, a porch, a little deck that you've got, and you can grow a massive amount of food, so much food in such a small area. And that's why, of course, the deck isn't going to go anywhere. We're going to be doing a lot of gardening on the deck. Remember, walking onions, my favorite food for everybody to grow. Really need to grow it, and if you do it right, you'll have it for life, and you can share with your friends as well. Let's go on someplace else in the yard too. Kitty? And of course, Kitty will be here too. As I'm coming through here, and I'm going to go to do my ginger, you'll see my ginger and my turmeric all year. Gary is working here, so we're just going to kind of walk by and continue our venture through the yard. You took the blacktop out?
I took the blacktop off here because it wasn't going to be stable enough for the retaining wall.
Okay, well, he's building his thing. You can wave and say hello. We're just doing a tour around the property on all the things that are coming this year. So I probably cut my head off. I don't know, but if I did, that's all right. You know what I look like. So we're going to keep going, and I'm going to show you the yard's little things. It's not a tour. Today, it's a venture. I'm on my way.
Okay.
It's the first time I'm touching it. Hi, now we're in the front yard. You all know my front yard. Well, everything's been moved, everything's been disturbed, and we're starting almost over. If it's still growing good, and if it was in a tote, well, then all we did was drag it away, and we'll drag it back. Gary just built this. It is a puzzle. If I was moving and decided I wanted to go to a smaller place and just have a few things, this would, well, it would come with me. It will come with me if I ever decide to move. This is a puzzle. Gary's going to get the video together on that. The rest of the yard is going back. I'm going to make it where it's easy for me to take care of. and I want to make it cute, and I want to make sure I bring in the birds, because the birds are the greatest thing to keep, insect control. So this is I'm not sure what stop we're on right now, but this is another stop on what's going on, and the front yard is definitely still here, still going strong, and looking nicer. Isn't this cool? We haven't set it up yet. I will be getting this all set up. He'll tell you all about it, and then you'll watch me set this thing up. So let's go on to another part of the yard now. Well, I guess you could say this is the 6th stop. This is the driveway. You all know my driveway. I've got cabbage growing. My potatoes are coming up. I've even got tomatoes I didn't plant coming up. All kinds of stuff grows in the driveway. I've got the last of my carrots, goes all the way down. We do collard, we do celery, we do tomatoes. I've got green sorrel, Swiss chard. I can't name it all. You've seen the garden tours, and if not, go back and look. But this driveway will be redone when spring comes. In the meantime, I'm still growing, but I am going to be turning things up a little bit differently, because again, this year, I want to make sure that everything I grow is almost self-contained. I want to make sure when it's a hot day, those plants have enough water, and most importantly, easy. Easy, easy, easy. That's the main thing, because if I turn my garden into a chore, just like most people, they think it's too much work, I'm just going to go to the store and buy. There's nothing wrong with buying food from the store, but it's even better when you can add your own produce that you grew. Mix that up, get everything you need for your body, stay healthy, and best of all, you feel better. And that's more important, because you'll do so much more when you feel better. So this is our 6th stop. Look at this. I still have basil growing. I got to get that pizza together. And everything is still growing, and I still have food, and we're right in the middle of winter. Now, I will say, yes, we've been a little warm this year, but all in all, no matter what, even if we got really cold, I will still have something growing. And if you don't worry, because you'll have spring here before you know it, and you'll be getting ready to do your garden too. Whether it's an old garden that you're redoing, or a brand new garden because you've never gardened, but you found me and other people too and thought, if they can do it, I can do it. And most certainly you can do it if I can do it, because believe me, I had a black thumb. And now, as you get to enjoy your garden, once you have an interest, that's when everything goes. When you have an interest, you have to have an interest, you've got to make it fun, and you've got to make it easy, and you've got to make it cheap if you can't afford a lot of things. Let's go to another stop. What's going on? And this one is the new one, and I am, no joke, so excited about it. Let's go to the next stop. Now, we're at our 7th stop. Now, I'm not growing here, and I don't plan on growing here. I've grown here before, and what happened was, it's so shaded, even in the summer, that I really couldn't get a lot of stuff to grow here. But it might be good to move things here periodically, but we'll see as time goes on what I decide to do. I'm not sure myself. But this is the big adventure. We are going to bring color into our lives. I'm going to bring color into my lives. I love color. As a person that actually loves art, all colors mean something to me, because each color has its own meaning to me and its own beauty to me. And when I started looking at all these and thought, wow, there are areas I may want my garden to be subdued and not so bright, and maybe have the plants, the showy part. But then there's other parts where I may want to just be able to kick back and smile, to bring a smile to your face, to bring something that feels good to your face. And then on top of that, to grow food and flowers and whatever you want. I mean, you could do this with flowers if you didn't want to grow food. Well, I am going to be working with this. Now, if you think, wow, this is amazing, you haven't seen anything yet, because I did another order this week that's coming next week, and it's going to be all different size buckets, all different sizes, because they have a meaning to me, and the smaller buckets are going to make my life this summer so easy. And even all spring, they're going to have a life of their own when it comes to the different sizes each bucket. Each bucket will represent what I want to do with it, and we'll get into that as it comes. Remember, a lot of you worry about plastic. These are number 2. I've gone over to my other videos. The only one you don't want to use is number 3 because that's usually a toxic plastic. They have maybe lead or something else in it. They're clearly labeled. If they're not labeled, smell it because you can smell it. It smells like oil. It's not just plastic. It has an odd smell. I can smell it in number 3. But I've only found number 3 once, and that was on a glue container. So that meant it could not be recycled. These can all be recycled. All your food containers at your grocery store, we've talked about it, are either 1, 2, 4, or 5. Occasionally you'll find a 6 or a 7, but generally those are the ones you find. The buckets here have all been a 2. A lot of my totes, I love my totes, don't worry, I'm not getting rid of totes. The buckets are going to work with me with the totes. The totes are usually a 5. That's perfect. You go to the store, you buy hot food, you buy cottage cheese, you buy yogurt, cold food, doesn't matter. They're generally, you will find a 2 and a 5. The only problems with 1 is your water bottles are 1, and there's nothing wrong with it, but what happens with water bottles, if you've got them outside, a clear type of plastic, they will usually break down too quick. Where these can last, if you take care of them right and you plant in them and you don't keep them empty in the sun, they can last for many years. I've got totes in my garden that are over 5 years old and still going strong. I've got a bucket in my garden that's over 30 years. It's over 40. I don't want to say it. I don't want to get into it. It's over 40 years old and it still looks beautiful. So let's keep going. But this is just the beginning because next week I'll show you what I've got coming. I went overboard. You don't have to go overboard because I'm going to do things in all different ways so everybody can find something that's going to work for them. And that's what my hope is, that somebody's going to say, wait a minute, I can do that? Oh, or I can twist it and do it a little differently than she did. Don't necessarily take what I do, that you have to do it that way. You do it what's going to make your life easier and your life more fun. And by using buckets, I am going to have to buy almost no soil because I'm going to make my own, and I'm going to show you how you can make your own soil too, so we can all save money. Because one bag of soil can be anywhere from $10 to $50 depending on the type of soil you get. So this way you could buy one bag and spread it. Oh, we don't have to get into that. We'll get into that on another video. Let's continue the venture. We're done here. Let's go see what else I'm doing. I love my buckets, and the guy thought it was crazy when I put my order in. That's okay. Think of how much food I'm going to grow in a little bucket that can cost anywhere from $3 to $5. A lot of food. Now we're in my main garden. You all know my main garden. That's where I feed the birds. We grow tons of greens in here, all kind of dinosaur kale that's been growing for 5 years, lemon verbena, tree collards everywhere, all kinds of collards, all kinds of kale, just different things are growing in my garden. Tomatoes, I'm still growing tomatoes right now. So we've got all kinds of different things going. And then I've got all my solar fountains I put out here, which I'm going to start spreading more around the property. So we've got a lot going in this garden, and this is a big garden. I may do some changes, and I may call this soon the bird garden, because this garden has brought in over 50 species of birds here in Southern California. Come and visit this garden. This is not counting owls. It is not counting any of the birds of prey. Just regular birds, not birds of prey, not owl, not even ravens or crows I'm talking about. Just the regular songbirds and all the different birds. I've documented them. I put up a video, I think over a year ago. I'll put the link to it if you want to see it. I'll make a shorter one because that was a long one. And I'll show you all the birds there. Well, you'll see it in that video, and we'll get another one going. They have found this is their paradise. This bird garden gives them shelter. It gives them food. It gives them water. It gives them everything they need, protection. They feel safe here. And I love having the birds, especially when we have birds come through that you don't normally see. So this garden is going to stay the same, but I want to make it look nicer. And I'm probably going to be adding in some more buckets in here. We're going to get into the buckets later, but this is phenomenal. Everything you have seen in this garden all the way back is edible. The only things I can't eat are the geraniums. But I like the geraniums because they are Well, they're there for the birds to hide in. They bring a little pop, a little bit of color into the yard. And to be honest, I really didn't plant them. Pieces got into the garden. They started to grow because there's geraniums all over, and I left them, and I'll probably add more. I don't know if you can see the rock solar fountains, but we're going to get into all kinds of solar fountains. You can make them so easy with any type of container to hold water and a plate. You can use a bowl. You can use found toys in the house that you're not using. That's a globe. This is just an old watering can I had, and I've got a jar. Well, you know, you've seen the video on this. The hummingbirds come stand here and take a bath. This is so fun. So we're going to get into solar fountains. We're going to get more into the hummingbirds and, of course, gardening. Let's go do maybe 1 or 2 more stops, and I think we'll be done to show you what is going on this year. I'm making a stop here because I do want you to remember this area. This area is going to be transformed into a new garden. I decided that this was the area. Of course, I could change my mind, you know I do that. But I think this is the area that I'm picked to start something completely new and different than some of the other gardens I've got going. It's a small area. I'm only going to use it probably up to this chair, and I'll decide how far back I want to go. But I have visions and dreams of changing this area. Now, I did plant this fig tree, last year, and I'm wondering if I made a mistake or not, but I'm going to keep this shaped and keep the fig tree here because at first I thought, well, I don't know if I really want this tree here if I'm changing this into a garden. But the sun goes over, so this isn't going to, hurt anything as far as shade. And actually, it should be beneficial because just think, I can set up a beautiful little solar fountain here, and the birds in the summer and the spring will have a place to come perch, come down and get some water, and hopefully go into my new garden and clean up all those insects because that is what's going on all in our gardens. So I think that's it. I can turn you around and we'll do one more walkthrough through the papayas before we end this up. Yep, that's papayas. I was going to skip this area, but you know what? We've got about, I don't even know, 30 papayas on here. We've got all those. And yes, they were growing in a small container dragged out here. They set their roots in the ground and they kept on going. And so I shouldn't skip this thing because a lot of people really love the papayas. And remember, you never throw this away. We actually feed their own leaves and whatever falls off of them, old flowers or old papayas, if we don't get to them, that goes all back to the papayas. Now you're saying, wait a minute, you just threw that in a tote. How in the world is that feeding that papaya? Because the tote's got holes, the microbes get in there, there's earthworms in there, they're going to eat up everything, and when you water that tote, or when I water that tote, all that water goes down into the roots and feeds these papayas. And this papaya's got its own. Every papaya plant has its own container or tote, and that is to keep these well fed. As long as they're well fed, we get, I don't even know, hundreds of papayas from what? Just a few papaya plants. Let's keep going, because I was going to skip this, but I thought there'll be a few of you that are going to say, wait a minute, where's the papayas? So everything here is going great, and I think I will get some more things in here to grow as well. I mean, I've got the room, why not? And I'm going to have the buckets and containers and totes, so why not? And it's going to be right next to my new garden, so it's going to be really easy to maintain everything. Remember, the key word to getting our gardens going this year will be easy. If we can keep it where it's fun and easy, but we still want to get out there and do a little bit because it's good for us to move. We all have to move around. Get some sunshine, get that vitamin D. Just keep it easy, and I know that you'll keep doing it and make it a part of your life. And that's what I have done. Believe you me, I wasn't in the gardening. I tried it. We've talked about it in past videos. It was so much work and so hard. And not only that, the soil was costing me a fortune that now that I make my own soil, I don't have to worry about it. I just have to buy a little to get started if I want, and that's it. Anyways, enough with that. We've talked about it in other videos. Let's go do one more. I think one more stop will do. So for now, we're done with our venture. I've ended with my chair garden. Of course, I've got the truck bed back there. We still have the long wall where all the squash is gonna grow. I'm gonna concentrate more on zucchini because zucchini is my favorite. And then of course we've got the bathtub and the ponds that Gary is setting up. That's gonna have dragonflies and everything through it. I've got hummingbirds zipping through, like what's on my hat, a hummingbird. And they're just everywhere, and then the hummingbird feeders. So we're gonna do a lot with hummingbirds. We're gonna do a lot with gardening. We're gonna do a lot of things like maybe making different types of water fountains, talking about feeding birds and bringing birds into your garden so you can keep it really organic. Saves you money too. And we'll get into all kinds of stuff like that. And I am gonna get into cooking more because that's one thing we do. We used to go out a lot, we don't anymore. Of course now this year we haven't at all. I haven't even been in a grocery store since March. So it's gonna be a year. And everything is coming out of our garden. I am buying some stuff from Walmart, you do know that, but I haven't needed any produce. I have started to buy a little bit of mushrooms because I like putting mushrooms on my pizza. And I have found that I can easily freeze them. So I can buy a big container of mushrooms, clean them up, freeze them, and take them out as I need them. I don't want to start growing mushrooms, but I know you can. And that's basically it. I just thought I'd take you on a little, beginning of the year, a little tour, not really a tour, a venture around the property so you could see what's going on right now in winter. And I'm not, going overboard on trying to plant things, but I am planting. I've got lots of lettuce growing. With the chair garden, I let it do its own thing. The celery's growing. I've got peppers still growing, tomatoes still growing. So whatever grows is, grows. I've got parsley and garlic chives and walking onions. I'll have to say that over and over and over. Walking onions, I think everybody should grow. And as long as you know how to use them and know how to pick them, you'll have them forever. And we'll get more into that, even though I've got a lot of videos on walking onions, Egyptian onions. They taste just like green onions. They're so good, whether you cook with them or eat them raw. So what else have I not done? I'm sure I forgot some stuff, but we'll go to Gary's garden. I didn't do Gary's garden. We'll go into Gary's garden and we'll see what's going on there. We're gonna have a lot going on. Gary's got a lot of stuff going on. And I just thought I would take you on a venture today to show you everything going on and the excitement I've got because I am going to start doing more things. And why am I going to do more things with buckets and totes? Because I have learned a lot. And I have learned that that works so good, it's going to work really good for you. And you'll have a lot of fun. And my hummingbirds love the garden too. So with that, have a wonderful, wonderful day. And don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye. I thought I'd have a little cup of coffee with you. It's still morning and it's beautiful today. I love coming out here in the morning with my camera, getting some photos of the birds. Like I told you, there's over 50 species of small type birds that come through our yard and it's amazing. All right, I know, I hear it, I can hear you already. Why did you not go to Gary's garden? Because I forgot. Let's go end this with Gary's garden. I'll take a walk down to Gary's garden. I haven't seen it either, and maybe I'll pick some stuff for dinner tonight or lunch. Yeah, maybe I'll just go back and get it when the time's right. All right, let's go to Gary's garden. Okay, I heard the yelling, I heard the screaming. I'm in Gary's garden. So I've come down to Gary's garden. We'll get some more garden tours this year in Gary's garden. We'll get him out here. Even if we question him, you can send me some questions, and he likes when I ask him questions, and then he can answer them. He'll be doing plenty down here. He's got his bananas. Let's see, what else does he have? He's got his Malabar spinach. He's got pepinos. He's got tons and tons of greens growing. We have a red tail hanging around here. He's got all kinds of greens, his Swiss chards, his collards, his kales. He's got so much. So much. And we're going to have so much more because I just bought some seeds. We got seeds on the way. So everything will be growing will either be from our own cuttings or from seed. And he's got sweet potatoes, and I think I'm going to have to dig some up. My daughter just dug up a bunch in her yard, so I'm going to see if he's got some. And I know he's got bananas coming. He's got a lot of stuff. The only thing with bananas, when he grows bananas and we have them ready, it's not like you're bringing in 1 or 2 at a time. You're bringing in 50 to 100 at a time. But that's all right. I have frozen some. So that's what's going to be going on this year. We're going to be doing so much more. And the reason is, for maybe a lot of you to be able to take something. It doesn't have to be everything. I'm going to try all different types of things. But the things that I've been doing over the past few years have worked so well that I would never have believed that we could grow so many different types of foods and vegetables and plants in the way we're growing. Yes, I can plow the whole property and start growing, but you know what? I would be exhausted. And if I had to take care of it with Gary and get out there and till and turn and dig, frankly, I wouldn't do it. You know, you'd be fighting critters, you'd be fighting the soil, you'd be fighting Mother Nature. When I container garden, whether it's right on the ground or on a chair or anywhere, I have control. When you do it in the ground, you're fighting for control. And I'm too old for that. I want to be able to get my garden going, get that food going, and go on with the next one. That is done, and continue to plant, continue to create my own soil. And I have nothing against buying soil. I buy soil to put it on the top when I'm starting new plants. We're going to get into all of that. Even though we did it last year, it's important to get into that again because there might be 1 or 2 little things I did different that worked so good. And then throw in your ideas too. Tell me, what you've done. Keep in mind, I try to go through everything and read everything. It's very hard to answer everything. It's literally impossible because there's tens and thousands of questions that come in. And I go through here and there. I try to go through the first videos I put up, the newest one. I go through a whole bunch, and then a day or 2 later, I've got to go on to the next. But I do periodically go back. I know some of you have gotten an answer a year later, and that's because it finally popped up, and I saw it, and I went for it. So I'm doing my best. I wish I had somebody answering for me, but then that wouldn't be my answer, would it? So Gary tries to go through his own videos. I try to go through mine, and we're doing the best we can on that. But I just hope you're getting a lot out of this or getting something out of it because it's so important. The littlest thing. Look at this, Malabar spinach. They grow a red berry. You know what I get out of this? That berry is the best food coloring when it comes to frosting cakes. If you want to make some white frosting and add that berry in, you just smash it, add in the liquid from it. It's so intense. I made a birthday cake for my granddaughter a couple years ago using that. It has no flavor, so it doesn't change the flavor, and the frosting was bright pink. Looks so beautiful, and I knew it was no synthetic dye, nothing bad for us because they are finding out that even these berries with no flavor have a lot of nutrients in it too. So with that, now have a wonderful day. Think about gardening real soon. Ask questions, I'll do my best, and we all need to grow a little something, even if it's in your kitchen window. Have a great day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Please like and subscribe, and if you want to see me going on live, because I'm going to try to be doing a lot of live, make sure when you subscribe you hit that button. Now, if you don't have an account on YouTube, you won't be able to subscribe. It just, it works that way. My mother doesn't have an account, so she just watches when she can. And that's why a lot of you who can't subscribe, can't give a thumbs up, it's because you don't have an account. So if you've got an account, like and subscribe and hit that little bell there so you'll get a little ding and notification when I decide to walk into the kitchen and just cook. Have a great day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye, everybody. I wonder if I should make a cake. My favorite, chocolate cake with white frosting. And it could be pink. It's kind of a pinky purple, magenta. I didn't get any greens today. Wow, that's really good. All right, let me see what I'm going to use for dinner later. I'll come back later on in the evening and see what I'm going to pick. He's got so much stuff. He's got more stuff than me. That is really good. That is really, really good. I don't think he'll miss anything. That really has good taste. And so nutritious. All right. I think I've covered everything. And if I didn't, oh well. We'll get to it later.